All right. So, geometry, we are talking about our angle relationships, but now specifically we're talking about them with parallel lines. Okay? So, with our angle relationships, we have four types. Well, basically five, but we're going to put them into four. So, the first one is corresponding angles. And how do you know they're corresponding? Because they have the same location. So for instance, they're both top right or bottom left, something like that. And another way to see is there's going to be one inside and one outside. So one inside of the parallel lines and one inside and one outside. Okay? So that's corresponding. The other two, or the next two, are going to be alternate interior angles and alternate exterior angles. And again, how do you know what those are? So first of all, they're both for interior. They're both inside. They're both inside. And for alternate interior, they're both inside, and you got to go across the transversal to get to the other angle. Okay? So alternate exterior is the exact same thing. We have both outside this time, since it's exterior, and you got to go across the transversal. Okay. And finally, our last two, we're going to put in one box here, and that is the consecutive angles. So that's consecutive interior and exterior angles. Okay. So, for interior, we have both inside, just like the other one, and on the same side of the transversal. And then with exterior, we have the exact opposite. So interior is right there, exterior, they're both outside of the parallel lines, and also on the same side of the transversal. Okay? So, there you have it. Those are our five types. So now we're going to put them into practice. So for corresponding angles, let's go ahead and draw ourselves a couple parallel lines. So these two lines, we're going to say they're parallel. And then we have a transversal going through. Okay? And I'm going to draw that same picture for every one of these. Two parallel lines, transversal. Two parallel lines, transversal. Two parallel lines, transversal. All right. So, with our first situation, I'm going to go ahead and label our numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're starting out. Our first category is corresponding angles. Okay, so like we said on our worksheet, we have actually 4 corresponding angles. So I've got 1, top left, corresponds with 5. 2 corresponds with 6. And then I've got 3. I'm going to put a little mark like that with 3. Corresponds with 7. And I'm going to put a little mark like that with 8 and 4. So the reason I'm marking them the same is because if these two lines are congruent, then that means the corresponding angles are, if the two lines are parallel, then the corresponding angles are therefore congruent. Okay, and that's a theorem. So what we write as the theorem is parallel implies, so if the two lines are parallel, that implies that corresponding angles are congruent. That's our theorem. So, therefore, what we can say in our conclusion is that angle 1 congruent to angle 2, or sorry, not angle 2, angle 1 and 5 are congruent. We can say angle 2 congruent to angle 6, because they're corresponding. We can say angle 3 congruent to angle 7, and we can have angle 4 congruent to angle 8. And that's all true because they're corresponding angles. Okay? So, let's look at the next one. So the next one we're talking about, hang on one second. We're talking alternate interior angles. So I'm going to label my angles once more. And so alternate interior angles, I think this was pink up there, yeah. Alternate interior angles, I've got angle 3 and angle 6, okay? And I've got angle 4, alternate interior with angle 5. And again, I'm labeling those the same because, same deal. If it's parallel, that implies that your alternate interior angles are congruent. That's a theorem. So, angle 3 we can say is congruent to angle 6. Angle 4 we can say is congruent to angle 5 because the lines are parallel, therefore their alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay? And that goes the same for this next one, alternate exterior. So if I've got the same angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, look at our exterior angles. I've got 1 and 8 are exterior and alternate, 2 and 7, alternate exterior. So in the same fashion, if they're parallel, that implies that the alternate exterior angles are congruent. So that'd be angle 1 congruent to angle 2, and that would be angle, not angle 1 and 2. What am I thinking? 1 goes with 8, and then angle 2 goes with angle 7. Okay? And so our last one, we have, what color did we go with? Purple? All right. No, not that purple. There we go. So, consecutive interior and exterior. So, with these are not, and I repeat, not congruent. So, consecutive is the only one that's not the same. So, I'm getting my angles here. All right. So, when I have parallel lines, so first of all, let's figure out which one go together. So I've got 3. I'm not going to label them the same because they're not congruent. They're not congruent. They're going to be something else. So 3 goes with 5. 6 goes with 4. And then on the outside, I've got 2 and 8. And I've got 7 and 1 exterior. So if they're consecutive angles, that means they're not congruent. They are supplementary. So if they're parallel, that implies that consecutive interior or exterior angles, so consecutive interior and exterior, are supplementary. Okay, so in this case, let's start with our interior angles. Okay, so for the interior situation, here's what we have. We can say angle 3 supplements angle 5. We can also say angle 4 supplements angle 6. And so for the exterior situation, I've got angle 1 supplements angle 7, and I can say angle 2 supplements angle 8. Okay, and that's your angle theorems. So when it comes to folding it, you're basically going to be folding right here down and then cutting these so you can just kind of use those as flaps. Okay, but if you want to wait till class to do that, that's fine. So turn to the back side. We've got parallel lines. Definition, just as a reminder. So parallel lines are two coplanar lines that do not intersect. And just as a note, they go in the same direction. Okay? If they go in the same direction, that means they're coplanar automatically. Skew lines are two non-coplanar lines that do not intersect and they're not parallel. Okay, that's parallel and skew. All right, so looking at our picture, let's go ahead and just pick out a couple examples of parallel lines. So like, I'm just going to pick a couple easy ones. Let's say AD and BC. So I'm going to use my labels AD, okay, AD with the segment line is parallel to, that's not very good, let's try that again, parallel to BC. Okay. Parallel planes, remember planes are named with 3, so I'm going to go ahead and do the top and the bottom because those are parallel. So I'm going to name the bottom BCG. BCG is parallel to the top, I'm going to call it AED. Okay? And then skew lines means they're going to not be parallel and they're not going to cross. So if I start with, like, let's say DF, that one's not going to cross HG. Okay? Because one's going left and right, one's going front to back, and they're never going to cross. Even if you extended them out, this one's going over the top of the other. Okay? So I can say DF and HG are skew. Okay? So that's our foldable. We will label these on... We can label them now, I guess. You just got to make sure to go backwards. So I'm going upside down right now. So this is kind of confusing looking probably. So this first one is corresponding, I'm going to actually, corresponding angles. The second one is alternate interior angles. The third one is alternate exterior angles. Pardon my handwriting. And then the last one is consecutive. I'm just going to write that out. Consecutive. I can't really write it out, can I? Consecutive interior / exterior angles. Okay? So, now we have it. Our foldable is ready to go ahead and fold if you want, and you can cut it up so that those flaps go down like that, but that's kind of up to you. Here you can wait till Monday or Tuesday. All right? So, that's it.